I deemed it necessary because at long last, CM Punk is main eventing WrestleMania. So this is a Not Sam Wrestling emergency podcast. Feelings and feelings only. No notes are allowed as we discuss our feelings coming off of Smackdown, the contract signing between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns, and the news being made official that that match is going to headline WrestleMania. And I will first tell you, my favorite part of the entire contract signing on SmackDown was when Paul Heyman embraced CM Punk and told him straight up that you are going to main event WrestleMania. This match goes on last. And at long last, you are going to live out your dream, because the tears were real. The embrace between Paul Heyman and CM Punk were real. If you go back to CM Punk's DVD, CM Punk is telling stories of becoming a quote-unquote Paul Heyman guy when he's in Louisville at OVW. And he's sitting in the back room with Paul Heyman and learning every element of professional wrestling that he had not learned yet, learning how to time out television shows, why decisions are made, how decisions are made, and everything around the art of professional wrestling and how you present it on television. His whole life changed. Paul Heyman's whole life changed. And everything that those two thought could happen all those years ago, a decade way plus ago, finally, in 2025 in Las Vegas at WrestleMania 41, come to fruition. And as part of a storyline, we saw a very real moment between Paul Heyman and CM Punk. And that, to me, is why I'm so wrapped up in this triple threat storyline. Because like I've said on Not Sam Wrestling, this is not a triple threat to me that has been put together because they're three of the biggest stars, and what's bigger than having these two guys fight? Adding a third, now it's even bigger. This is a storyline that if you break it down, if you study it, if you look at all the players, if you look at their motivation and their why, the triple threat scenario is essential and continues to be essential. The triple threat scenario is the one that gets continued to be built upon. Because the CM Punk Roman Reigns story, the Roman Reigns Seth Rollins story, the CM Punk Seth Rollins story, and everything in between is all wrapped up like a rat king. You know, when all the rats are all living together in close quarters and their tails end up getting tied together so tight that they almost become one thing. That's what this story has become between the three of these people. So Roman Reigns comes out first. And he gives London that London. And he says that he'd like them to acknowledge him. And they chant Roman, Roman Reigns, Roman, Roman Reigns. And he's happy about it. And he signs the contract and he's ready to go. Why is he in such a rush? Well, Seth Rollins comes out and asks that very question. And in his asking of the question, answers it, I believe, when he talks about what the Shield did together in the O2, powerbombing The Undertaker through a table, attempting to rebuild the WWE in their own image. Roman Reigns has no memories of the Shield. I mean, he's done interviews where he talks about the big dog being dead. Roman Reigns is not a guy who embraces, cares about, or would like to talk about his past. Roman Reigns exists in his final form today, and that's the only form that Roman Reigns, for lack of a better term, cares to acknowledge. So as Seth Rollins is just walking down memory lane, Roman Reigns, and again, I think personally, in a very real moment, says, this wasn't us. I'm the one that did all this. What did you do? What have you been doing? I'm the one that did all this. Where it gets real is where he says, I'm the one who put us in a position where we could make a Netflix deal. I'm the one that brought us to billion-dollar tables. I'm the one that did all that. And I think that in any scenario, privately, publicly, in character, out of character, Roman Reigns, Joe Anoa'i. I think if you ask this guy, are you the one that did all that? He'd say, yeah, yes, I am. There's evidence and numbers to prove I'm the guy that did all of it. That's reality. That's not storyline. And then Seth Rollins comes back with what Seth Rollins should be coming back with. That he hasn't, that part of Seth Rollins that existed at WrestleMania 40 and before WrestleMania 40 is not dead, is not in a position where it doesn't count. Everything counts. Seth Rollins says, what have I been doing? I've been saving WWE from you, from your mentality, from thinking it's all about you. I've been saving WWE from you. And that's as close as we've come to a full acknowledgement of what Seth Rollins did to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. That's as close as we've come to an acknowledgement of Seth Rollins's participation in the match with Cody and arguably being the person that made it so that Cody could win the championship from Roman Reigns and putting Roman Reigns on this completely different course. That the betrayal of Roman Reigns it has nothing to do with the Royal Rumble. It goes back to WrestleMania 40, and then if you want to keep going back to the Shield. And he says now, as we discussed on the podcast on Monday, now I'm saving all of us from somebody even worse, from CM Punk. You let a snake in our garden, and you could have cut that snake's head off in the War Games, and instead you shook his hand. See, Seth Rollins is still the Shield of the WWE. Seth Rollins still sees himself as that person, the same way the Shield came in with that mission of reshaping the WWE as a company, of reshaping that company into the vision of what the members of the Shield believed that wrestling in the WWE should be. Seth Rollins is still that same guy who a year ago was trying to make sure that the WWE did not live in a place where it was under one man's thumb, and that man was his brother Roman Reigns, and so he had to stop it from happening. And now that he saved the WWE from Roman's reign of terror, he's got to save the WWE from a cancer, as he's described him, like CM Punk. And that's when CM Punk comes out. Look in my eyes, what do you see? The whole crowd is singing along. It's clobbering time. There's security with him. But this time, CM Punk is not going right for Roman Reigns. CM Punk is sitting down at the table. And CM Punk is looking through the contract. And it's very interesting because, like we've been noticing, even though there was a true loathing for Roman Reigns a year ago, now Seth Rollins almost, and I don't know, it's one of those things where maybe it's because for Seth Rollins, it was business last year, right? And then and now Seth is able to go, we accomplished what we needed to accomplish last year, so we can just focus on the fact that, yeah, we may not get along, we may not always like each other, but we're brothers, right, Roman? And Roman says, absolutely not. No, we're not. So then Punk comes out, and there's real venom, there's hatred, there's loathing from Seth Rollins towards CM Punk, but CM Punk's not bothered by any of that because he's flipping through the contract, and he said he was going to flip through the contract. He said it on Raw. He's going to look through all the fine print to make sure what he wants in there is in there. And Megan called it out on the Raw recap, and I think most of us were like, yeah, she's right. What CM Punk is looking for is something that says he can main event WrestleMania because this is the one thing that he's always wanted to do. When he left the WWE 10 years ago, it was his last night was the Royal Rumble. He had heard what the WrestleMania plan was, and the plan was not for, it was him to be in a big match, but not the main event. The year before, he was in a big match. It was with The Undertaker. It was not the main event. Year before that, he was WWE champion, not the main event. WrestleMania 40, his first WrestleMania back, injured, couldn't be in the main event. Finally, he said, this is all I want. I've lost the Royal Rumble. I've lost the Elimination Chamber. Roman Reigns is aware of what CM Punk is looking for. He says, go to whatever he said, page 4, section 5, maybe. And he says, wise man, go tell CM Punk. So now we're under the assumption that Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman have had this conversation, that they were backstage and Paul Heyman said, look, my tribal chief, this is what I've offered CM Punk. This is what he's been looking for. And by the way, you can go back a few weeks here on Not Sam Wrestling. And I said that part of the favor was going to be Paul Heyman, CM Punk being in this match with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. And because he's in that match, because it's Roman Reigns, because Paul Heyman is involved, this match is the main event of WrestleMania. Therefore, CM Punk, in being included in this match, can now be in the main event of WrestleMania. And lo and behold, that's when Paul Heyman has this moment with CM Punk, and he goes over to him and he embraces him and he explains to him that there is a clause in the contract that says this match will close the show, which means there's no last-minute planning. In real life, there's no getting to WrestleMania the day of and mixing things up. You've got two opportunities to do it, luckily. You got a Saturday night and a Sunday night, and both those main events counts. That's the precedent has been set. I would imagine this will be Saturday. That's just what I would imagine. But he goes, yeah, it's in there. You're gonna go on last. You're the main event of WrestleMania. You did it. You did it, kid. And when they embrace each other, when there's tears coming down Paul Heyman's cheeks and CM Punk's cheeks as well, Roman Reigns is smiling ear to ear. For me, by the way, this whole time, because that's when Seth Rollins snaps and he goes, no, we can't do this. We can't do this, because maybe the most interesting part of all of this is that Seth Rollins is not only an accessory to CM Punk getting to the main event of WrestleMania, Seth Rollins, in his quest to make sure that CM Punk does not get what he wants, has facilitated CM Punk in getting to the main event of WrestleMania. Seth Rollins may have been better off if CM Punk had won the Royal Rumble. Because CM Punk, because of this rivalry that he's in with Seth Rollins, that Roman Reigns has become a part of, again, because of Seth Rollins, the nucleus of this whole thing is that Seth Rollins has facilitated, not try as he might, but because he tried so hard, because Seth Rollins so desperately wanted CM Punk to not main event WrestleMania, he made it possible for CM Punk to main event WrestleMania. If that is not irony, I don't know what is. And Seth Rollins, in his outrage, is talking about how important the main event of WrestleMania is, how it's the most important thing in the world. But there is no joy that Seth Rollins takes in main eventing WrestleMania. Because far more than Seth Rollins wanted to main event WrestleMania, Seth Rollins wanted CM Punk to not main event WrestleMania. Because I think in Seth Rollins' mind, he is not here for personal gain. Seth Rollins, as a character, is a protector of what he deems the industry needs. He is a protector of the industry. And therefore, it is far more important for him to protect the main event of WrestleMania by keeping CM Punk out than it is for him as an individual to actually be in the main event of WrestleMania. Megan's texting me while the show's on. She says, is this a Seth Rollins heel turn? Because up until now, I was kind of on Seth Rollins' side, but not anymore. I would say no. If anything, Seth Rollins is truthful to everything that he says. Now, it becomes very difficult to root for Seth Rollins because he's being a hater about the whole thing. He really is being a true hater. I mean, this is a guy who would get a reserved seat at the player haters ball with no question. But realistically, Roman Reigns feels more like old Roman tonight than he ever has. Roman Reigns looking at Seth Rollins in the face and telling him, you did nothing, I did everything. Roman Reigns being manipulative of the whole contract signing. Roman Reigns, after the contract is signed, ignoring the distress that Seth Rollins is in and insisting that CM Punk thank him, saying it was not the wise man. Do not thank the wise man. Thank me. Roman Reigns came back in such a heroic way in a quest to get the Ula Fala. But there is something about that Ula Fala that poisons the blood of Roman Reigns. Because now that Roman Reigns once again wears that Ulafala, he is slowly but surely drifting back into that peak bloodline Roman Reigns, who, while was as successful, if not far more successful than any WWE superstar has ever been, he was also evil. And Roman Reigns is very, very quickly shifting back in that direction. Now, we all love the performer that Roman Reigns is, so maybe we won't boo him, maybe we will. But the fact is, he resembles pre-WrestleMania 40 Roman Reigns now. I would argue more than he resembles Bad Blood of 2024 Roman Reigns. Right now, the Roman Reigns that we see now is not the same Roman Reigns that was willing to tag team with Cody. It's not the same Roman Reigns that was willing to accept CM Punk on his War Games team. Because that Roman Reigns won. He won when he was with Cody. He won when he was with CM Punk. He used up those pieces to put himself back on the pedestal that he needs to be on. He has built himself. He may not have the championship, but he has built himself back up to once again main eventing WrestleMania. And instead of looking around and thinking about all the people that helped him get there, he's saying, you must thank me. And CM Punk does. As Seth Rollins is ready to pull his hair out of his head, CM Punk thanks Roman Reigns in a very sarcastic tone. References the big dog, which we know Roman Reigns does not like at all. And as the show is going off the air, because Roman said in the whole contract signing, he said, see, one man's dream is another man's favor. Saying, we got it, we got the favor. That's what you were waiting for. Good to go, moving on. Except CM Punk says, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Tribal Chief. Thank you, man who wears the Ulafala. Thank you, Big Dog, is it? Roman Reigns doesn't like that at all. He says, thank you. And then he says, but that wasn't the favor. Which is just one of the most delicious cliffhangers that you can end on. I have my ideas of what the favor is. I will speak about it on Monday morning on the next episode of Not Sam Wrestling. Leave in the comments or in the Apple or Spotify reviews what you think the favor is. Now that we know it's not just getting to the main event of WrestleMania. That contract is signed, and CM Punk said, but that wasn't the favor. And Paul Heyman went, oh no. This dude, you see, Paul Heyman is the wife that has been cheating, or the husband that has been cheating. Paul Heyman is the partner that has been cheating. And he thought he covered every trace and made it so both parties were okay. But that individual that was helping Paul Heyman commit the infidelity that he was committing has just said, but he's still lying to you. Fade to black. What was he lying about? What's the secret? I have my thoughts. I would like to hear yours. We will talk again on Monday. Oh, this was necessary. I'm glad I got these feelings out. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. We will see you in Las Vegas on April 17th, Thursday, 5 p.m. at the Comedy Cellar, Las Vegas for a live Not Sam Wrestling podcast. You can get tickets at notsam.com. We'll talk soon.